Alright guys, so as I stated late last week, I have been quite busy with my job for these last few days, but we are finally back on track, and since there is not too much going on in Asphalt Legends Unite, today I will be having a look at one of the game modes I enjoyed the most back on my Asphalt 8 days, and which happens to exist as well in Asphalt 9 China, but with a few tweaks. So with nothing else to add, let's get into it. First of all, I would like to point out that I have been months without playing Asphalt 8 and I might miss some details, but in Asphalt 9 China, the Gauntlet is a bit similar in some things. First of all, you must set a defense, but instead of using 5 cars that rotates through the lap you have to make in a specific track, in Asphalt 9 China you must use 5 different cars on 5 different short variants of different tracks, so you end up using 1 car at 1 track. You can change the cars and reorganize them before doing the defense, but if you want to do more defenses, you have to use a Gauntlet ticket and you only have 5 of them per day, meaning that you can attack other rival defenses 5 times or less than that if you, for any reason, make a mistake while setting your defense attempt. I have a quite decent number of good cards for Gauntlet that, despite that are not the best nor the most ideal, on many cases do more than good enough to get me the daily rewards because you can attack 5 people a day, alright? I mean, you can buy more tickets with tokens and whatnot, but if you don't want to spend tokens, you can challenge 5 people. Before challenging your rivals, you have 3 options. On the left side, you can choose a rival with a bit less rating than you, which gives you less points in case you win and also gives less gauntlets, which you need to collect in order to reach the daily rewards. On the middle of the screen, you have a rival with roughly the same points of you, which gives you a few more gauntlet points in case you win him and an average amount of gauntlets. And then on the right side of the selection there is a rival with a higher rating than you have, and thus a person that gives you the maximum gauntlets and points in case you win him. In order to win a challenge, you need to win 3 out of the 5 races from that rival defense, otherwise you will lose points and earn far less gauntlets. Not gonna lie, at first it seems a bit more complicated than it actually is, because once you get used to it, it's really entertaining, honestly. Of course, at a certain point, if your rank is too high, you will face rivals who have far better cards than you, far better cards than the ones you have, or just guys with the same cards you have but with better skills, and then you have to either refresh your rivals using credits in order to find something a bit easier, or just stop because that's the end of the road for that day. But since I'm not really high on points, usually I can do all my 5 races with little to no issues. Of course, the main goal is to obtain the Koenigsegg Jesko Absolute, which on this game is exclusively available through the Gauntlet store, and its blueprints can't be obtained through any other means. You can buy Gauntlet coins from 10 limited offers, but the Absolute itself is mostly available through Gauntlet itself. I will likely do a video about the Absolute itself in the future, in case you guys want to know how different it is when compared with the one we have in Asphalt Legends Unite. But anyways, back on topic, this Asphalt 9 China Gauntlet mode is heavily inspired on the Asphalt 8 Gauntlet, obviously, but it has been tweaked and adjusted to fit the Asphalt 9 spirit, and I could not love the result more, guys. It's obviously that in order to perform at the maximum level and thus earn the best rewards in order to max out the Absolute faster, you need to have the best set of cards, which aren't cheap, as well as a solid set of skills, which isn't easy either, but for the vast majority of the player base, I think that by approaching it in a casual way just to get a decent amount of Gauntlet coins every day from daily rewards, it's more than enough to get to unlock the Absolute without massive delays. Unfortunately, this game mode, which actually helps both free-to-play and those who spend heavily on this game, it's quite unlikely to appear in Asphalt Legends Unite, because if it's been months since the Gauntlet was introduced and we didn't get anything about it on Asphalt Legends Unite, but a Drive Syndicate where the Absolute appeared, I think that was enough of a declaration of intentions regarding the possibility of Gauntlet coming to the global version of Asphalt 9, which is now Asphalt Legends Unite. Which is a pity, but I still prefer to not to lose the little faith I have left regarding the Asphalt Legends Unite developers adding some interesting features in the future. Of course, I'm still thinking about making a comparison between Asphalt Legends Unite and Asphalt 9 China, but the more I think about it, the less sense it makes to me, because despite both have the same root, this is Asphalt 9 Legends, in terms of content and development, Asphalt 9 China has been following a completely different path, up to the point where nowadays it's just better, mostly because of all the stuff the Asphalt 9 China developers chose to do and the Asphalt Legends Unite devs just chose to not to do. It's really sad to think about because Asphalt Legends Unite could have added not all of them, but a few of the features Asphalt 9 China has and will be easily twice as good as Asphalt Legends Unite is right now. But instead, they decided that messing up the graphics for a vast majority of the Android and iOS players was just better use of their time and money. And honestly, I think that they are literally far too comfortable because Asphalt Legends Unite is, as for now, in a position of leadership regarding the racing games niche on mobile devices, and they don't realize of the full potential they could achieve with solid and good features because when they release, let's be honest, quite mid stuff. I mean, just compare the Team Pursuit we got in Asphalt Legends Unite and the Gauntlet mode from Asphalt 9 China and the rewards they give. And since such mid features are decently received because people choose to play Asphalt Legends Unite because it's basically the best game with quite literally no competitors around, they think that they are on the right way, while the truth is that they could be at an easily twice as solid position if they introduce more solid features, just like the Chinese version does. But whatever, with all this frustration about what Asphalt Legends Unite could be and is choosing not to be, I'm moving away from today's topic. I just wanted to let you know guys my very first impressions after trying this game mode in Asphalt 9 China for the first time ever in my case, and you all of course are invited to let me know your thoughts in the comments section. In other topics, apparently Gameloft will release a new thing called Gameloft Club this week, which is based on what I could read, just another way of getting money, this time without intermediaries like Apple Store and Google Play Store, so they can take their own cut, since Gameloft will set its own store for games like Asphalt Legends Unite, where we will be able to buy stuff in-game with quote-unquote discounts, which, seeing what they consider a discount in-game, scares me more than anything else. But this ain't no new stuff for us guys, since we have been here for quite a while, so I might have a look into it once it's fully released. Either way, with this video we are looking into Asphalt 9 Gauntlet mode, so I would really like to know your thoughts about it in the comments section. Make sure to drop your like and tell me if you would like to see more Asphalt 9 China content in the channel as well, and I will see you really soon as usual with much more Asphalt content. Goodbye guys.
Give me some, I'ma catch a murder case. On my block, in this cop, mask on my face. Hesitate to give me some, I'ma catch a murder case. like it.